Hey there, guys. I mentioned we'd be going back to the second to last bosses on Dark Visions number 8. I got kind of distracted by Odin because he's been giving me trouble. I still have not perfect scored him. But we're going to do an alternate clear on the previous two bosses for now. Not using the Kingdom Hearts units or things like, Ibara and Yoshi that people really don't like when I use them. So we're going to be doing it with this team. Now, a lot of this team is actually naked. I'm just showing you an example setup. Tifa does almost the entirety by herself, so we're only gearing Tifa and Laswell. If your Tifa is not as well geared, mine is very well geared. If yours is not as strong, obviously gear the rest of the team and allow them to chip in damage. But we're going to do a Holy Element team with this. Zahn is the usual passive provoker. Now, the whole team has 30% or better to Earth and Dark resist. We're going to be using buffs to get to immunity. So passive provoke, evasion, Zahn, he's going to spread buffs. He's over-geared. He's just my default setup for Dark Visions. Elena is basically naked. She's just got the resistances. There we go. We're going to use her shift form to steal her Demon Killer buff. Now, you can swap her out for, Regina, Red 13. I'm not sure who else has a really high Demon Killer buff. Grimlord Sakura does, but she's a mage, so you don't really want to bring her anyway. But yeah, just bring a high Demon Killer to steal, and 30% or better Earth and Dark. She's also going to be our source of Holy Imbue and Holy Imperil. So if you're swapping out Elena, you need to get Holy Imbue and Imperil from some other source. Lucius, whatever, he's just here. He's on Titan for Earth Resist buff. Shift form, whatever, he's naked. He's just going to chain Bolting Strike, and that's it. Yeah, he's just a chain bot. He's not really doing any damage. Laswell, I did gear him because my Tifa does not quite cap it by herself. She needs a little bit of help. So Laswell is going to chip in. He is on Anima for the Dark Resist buff. So he's our Dark Resist source. Other than that, 30 Earth and Dark Resist. And he's got a little bit of Demon Killer and Attack Power. He's got 275 Demon and 3,800 attacks. So, I mean, he's geared well, but again, most of the team is naked. So if you can't gear him so well, swap him out. Dark Knight Leon, again, he's just naked, other than, a little bit of dual wielding. He is not even using a card. He's just got some resistances. That's it. He's just a chain bot. If you need help with damage, gear him up. Tifa, base form is just wearing some resistance and auto LB fill gear, so we can fill her LB by the third turn. This is optional, just make, it's convenient. And then shift form is going to be carrying the fight. She is, 30 or better Earth and Dark. Really high Demon Killer, really high LB damage. So she's geared really, really well. And because of that, I'm able to skip gearing the rest of the team. 300 Demon, 255 LB. And she basically carries the fight by herself. Well, her and Laswell. And the buffs we're going to steal. So, I mean, it's a team effort. Alright, so to start off, let's see. Lucius is going to Earth resist. Laswell will Dark resist. Let's see here. Elena will, on this first turn, imbue Holy and then imperil the boss to Holy. Zahn will, let's see, double up. Will Elemental and Critical on Elena. Leon can just Dark Membrane because he needs to unlock his triple cast for later. And Tifa can just guard for this first turn. We're going to kill on turn 3. And I should have mentioned, we're getting a defense break from Tifa. It's only 80%, but it's all we really need. If you can fit a better defense break, it helps. So we're going to go ahead and shift Tifa and get her ready to kill next turn. We're going to defense break twice and awaken. Make sure you don't use concentration. Elena will shift here, and we'll use her Magnus so we can steal it. Lucius has nothing to do. Let's see. Zahn can steal the killers from Elena, and we'll just spread those buffs. Tifa does her thing. We can just basically guard, and we're done. So we kill next turn. That's it. That's the fight. Now you do want to kill this boss before by turn 3, because he does bad stuff on turn 3, but we're done at this point. So we're going to chain these. Our Naked Leon, Lastwell is geared up. He will chip in some damage here. Lucius will shift so he can do his Bolting Strike chaining. Help us hit that 100-point chain count score. Elena will Crystal Shine So Bright. And Zahn will just chip in some chaining as well. We'll just Bolting Strike 3 times. Okay, so we chain everyone, and then after the chain is built, we send Tifa. 2.147, it looked like on Tifa. So Tifa actually solo capped that by herself. We didn't even need Lastwell. Yeah, I saw the 2.14 from when Tifa hit. So we didn't even need Lastwell. We could have literally gone with 5 naked units wearing just enough resistance gear and done. But again, that was just to show that Tifa is really strong here. You should absolutely gear your team, you know. So gear your team and just chain it up and kill him before the end of turn 3. So kill him on turn 3 or sooner. Alright, let's walk over to the tunnel armor, so we'll see you in a second. Hey there guys, we're going to be going to Dark Tunnel Armor now for a reclear. We're not using Ibara, we're not using Yoshi, and without Ibara or Yoshi, this fight is probably not going to be damage capable, at least with the units and gear I personally own. The options for Ice and Dark Mages at Neovisions is very small. There's Ibara, who is the best choice. The other options for Ice and Dark is Neovision Saul. I don't have him. I can't use him. And then Grimlord Sakura. We're going to use her. Her damage is honestly not that impressive, but she is like the 3rd best choice for for this fight, believe it or not. And we're going to use Elena. She is a hybrid. Hybrids are okay. They're not as good as real mages. But that's kind of where the options end. Other than that, you have to go down to 7-star units, which is pretty bad damage compared to Neovisions. Tomorrow, Neovision's Physalis does come out, and she is a very high damage mage, way higher than Saul and Grimlord. I think Ibara still beats Physalis, but if you don't have Ibara and you're really desperate to cap this fight, the next best option is probably Neovision's Physalis coming out tomorrow. But here's the team we're going to use. We're going to do the best we can. It's going to get not a perfect score, but it'll be something. If you don't have Ibara, don't have Yoshikiri, then this boss is going to be a challenge. Anyway, we're going to use Elena, who has kind of unfortunate stats. She does have 250 Machine Killer, which helps, but yeah, because we're not using... I don't have access to the good mage cards. My only magical cards are Ibara's card, which we're not using because we're not using Ibara, so it's we kind of can't really use her card as well. That wouldn't be fair. Other than that, my only other card with magic on it is Elena's card, which is a hybrid card. And it's not even a mage card; it's a hybrid card. And we're giving that to Grimlord. So she's using the anniversary card with no magic stats at all. So her magic is terrible. Rem is going to be a chainer. She chains with Elena. She has good magic stat, or killer stat. She's at 300 killer, so that's great. She's also going to buff killers for the team. She can do that. It's one of her cool abilities. And we gave her Graviga. This is from an earlier trial. We need to put Mastermind Zahn for this strategy in critical health, so below 20%. Graviga with double cast will do that. Another option is hitting Zahn in the face with a double hand unit with accuracy or something, and having Zahn use Guts. That'll bring him to 1 health as well. But Graviga's a little bit of an easier way to do it. So there we go. And I should have mentioned, the whole team needs 100% or more to fire and light resist. We're getting that from Grimlord Sakura. If you don't have Sakura or you're not using her, you need to get 100% fire and light resist from some other source, like gear and buffs, etc. But we're using 100% buff, so that's fine. Zahn, we're going to do double Mirage with Zahn, with Smoke Bomb. You need single Mirage on turn 1. You need double Mirage on turn 2. All you need is 2 stacks. So if you have someone else that has 2 stacks, like, what's the guy's name? Like Renora or Kamari or something, or Emperor Fu, whatever. Those are options, but they don't really do anything other than bring Mirage. At least Zahn can spread the killer buffs around. Not the killer buffs, the good attack and magic buff. But yeah, so we gave him Guts. We're not actually doing that strategy, so we don't need it, but whatever. Umbral Darkfina is going to be a chainer. That's not much more to say. She's a very high damage dark chainer for a 7-star unit. Probably the best option at 7-star. 250 Machine Killer, and yeah. Grimlord Sakura, base form is just going to buff, and that's it. Shift form, we're going to be the Chainer. She's got decent magic. A little low on killers. There's not very many magical killers, which is another problem. And we gave her Elena's card, and she's got 145 Machine Killer. Vaughn is going to be our Passive Provoke Evasion tanker. He's going to be doing Mirage on turn 1. He has his own Mirage, but in case you're not using Vaughn, maybe you're using like Summer Athena and Lit or something, just give him 1,000 Needles. It's the same thing. All you need is 1 stack on turn 1. And he's going to break the boss. That's all he's doing. That's it. End of story. Alright. Let's get in here and do it. So like, you know, Yoshi, Kiri and all would bring a good Machine Killer buff. Eileen would bring a Machine Killer buff, but the problem with Eileen is I didn't have a source of double Mirage if I brought her. But anyway, let's go ahead and LB with Dark Fina. Let's have Grimlord Sakura Candy Feast. Let's see. Vaughn can 1,000 Needles for the double Mirage. Before we do that, let's have... let's go ahead and get that Smoke Bomb activated. So we're going to Graviga. We're gonna double cast Graviga and target our own team and use it. That's gonna bring us to 25% health. Second cast, bring us to 6% health. Okay, boom. Zahn Smoke Bomb, ready to go. Okay, so now Elena will just do Stella Marie. Let's see. Zahn will critical to copy that magic buff that Elena just got. And then 1 stack of Mirage with Vaughn. We could have used Jade Parry either way, but again, if you're not using Vaughn, you're using someone else that doesn't have natural Mirage in their kit, 1,000 Needles is totally fine. Alright, now Dark Fiend is going to just double cast. We're going to do Sorcerer's Aura for the power-up, and we're going to do Aura of Darkness to refill her LB. Grimlord is going to shift, and I should have mentioned Grimlord is also our source of Dark Imbue. We're going to Grim Burst, we're going to Dark Edge to unlock Quad Cast, and we're going to Ethereal Haunting. We could cast, this is a Dark Imbue, we could cast it on Zahn, or you could just cast it directly on the two people that need it, which is Elena and Rem. Elena will LB before we imbue her. And Rem is now going to double cast. Okay, so what Rem is going to do is Accelerate to power up for next turn, and after Accelerate, we're going to do Break Sight. That's going to do a 50% killer buff on the entire party. It actually already buffs the entire party, so we don't need to steal it with Zahn or anything. Alright, Grimlord will imbue our two physical chainers. We can just go ahead and LB with Vaughn now to break the boss. And now we need Smoke Bomb. This is going to be a double Mirage. Okay, at this turn, the boss does 2 physical AoEs, and the second one is non-elemental, and that will damage your team and fail that mission. You could also use a physical cover tank with evasion, and that would work as well, but double Mirage handles it instead. Okay, so now Zahn needs to spread the buffs. We've already got the attack and magic buff from turn 1 that we stole, and technically he has the killer buffs, but like I said, Rem's killer buffs are AoE. If you're not using Rem, then you would steal the killer with Zahn first and then spread it. But whatever. So now we're going to go ahead and chain. We're going to Flying Seraphim. Elena will triple Gemini. Armboard Dark Fina will quad cast. We're going to do Dark Dragon King, Double Impact, and Mega Flare. Grim Sakura, going to quad cast Scythe Reap. And then Vaughn, nothing to do. And we go ahead and chain everyone. And that'll give us the 100-point chain score. I can already see the boss is dying way too slow. We are not going to damage cap by any means. There's no way. Let's see how we did. Give us the report card. 1.1. We did like half as much as needed. Wow, I figured we'd do better than that. Whew, guess not. Yeah, that's the best I can do without using Ibara or Yoshi. If you have Yoshi but not Ibara, what Yoshi would have done in this team, by the way, Yoshi would have replaced Zahn. So Yoshi would have, on turn 1, he would have given us a Machine Killer buff. On turn 2, Yoshi would have given double Mirage. So we would have had a 110% Machine Killer buff instead of Zahn. And then, yeah, that's all Zahn did really was spread a magic buff. And all these units can buff their own magic anyway. So it was kind of like irrelevant. But yeah, so that's how Yoshi could have helped here. It wouldn't have been, Yoshi would not have been enough to damage Cat by any means. It would have raised the score, but not by that much. Ibara is the big MVP here. I don't have her. I mean, I'm sorry, I do have her, but I don't have Saul. Saul is another one that would have been a big help here if I had him, but I don't. Anyway, I will see you guys for the next one next time.